Oh no, that was loud. Hi guys. We're back. Okay, so let me fix that. That's good. Test. Okay, we're good. All right, so we're going to continue reading Philosophy Who Needs It. I skipped yesterday streaming. I still read, but I didn't want to stream because I just felt like shit. I was like, yeah, it's not going to be a good stream. So, but we're here today. I got a few pages in, a few pages further rather. I believe we're on this paragraph. So, I'm just going to pick up. Again, don't have chat set up yet, unfortunately. That will be a weekend project. So, can't read chat yet, but we'll be getting that up shortly, or soon. Okay. Oops. I really love this. We choose our character. And once we choose it, our character becomes a fact, but it's not inevitable. I really like that. Shit! That was wild. So I think the point of this paragraph is that both man-made facts and metaphysical facts are facts. They're both. So even if the man-made facts didn't have to be that way, once they are that way, they are. And they're facts. And you can't reject them once they exist. So like a skyscraper didn't have to be built, but once it's built, it is a fact that there is a skyscraper. Yes, but so long as it exists, one cannot pretend that it is not there or that it is not what it is. Yeah. All right, that makes sense. All right. Hmm. Interesting. All right, so free will gives man a special status in two crucial respects. One, unlike the metaphysically given, man's products, whether material or intellectual, are not to be accepted uncritically. Okay, so because free will is the ability to choose, we can choose incorrectly, or we can choose to make a decision or to create something that is, well, we can choose to make a decision that's, let's say, suboptimal or not based on true facts or facts. It's based on fantasy. Or we can create something that is suboptimal and is false or based on false information or etc. And so because of that, we need to analyze the products of free will, the choices we make, and the actions we take, because we can be wrong. All right, and two, by its metaphysically given nature, a man's volition is outside the power of other men. So, I think what she's saying there is that nobody can force you to think. Nobody can force you to use free will. You can strongly incentivize, that might be the wrong word. You can compel. Well, no, not compel. You can cause someone a lot of pain in order to get them to think a certain way, but you can't force them to think. Nothing can force a man to think. Others may offer him incentives or impediments, rewards or punishments. Punishment, that's the word. They may destroy his brain by drugs or by the blow of a club, but they cannot order his mind to function. This is in his exclusive sovereign power. Man is neither to be obeyed nor to be commanded. What the unalterable basic constituents are to nature, the attribute of volitional consciousness is to the entity of man. What does that mean? So the metaphysically given, unalterable basic constituents are to nature. I'm not totally clear on this comparison. What the unalterable basic constituents are to nature. What exactly is a constituent? Constituent. There we go. An essential part. What the unalterable basic essential parts are to nature. The attribute of a volitional consciousness is to the entity of man. So it's fundamental. Both are fundamental. So unalterable basic constituents, that's fundamental to nature. Volitional consciousness is fundamental to man. I get that. All right, I'm going to come back to this because I'm not in the best headspace. I don't think I'm in the best headspace to answer this question. What does this mean? All right. Nothing can force a man to think. Yep. Others may offer him incentives or impediments, rewards or punishments. They may destroy his brain by drugs. Or by the blow of a club. But they cannot order his mind to function. Man is neither to be obeyed nor to be commanded. So essentially, free will, the choice to think or not to think, ultimately relies or remains with the individual. It remains his choice or her choice. Nothing can force. Force is the key word. Again, you can be under incredible amounts of pressure to think a certain way. Like if you're being tortured, for example, you can be under an immense amount of pressure in order to like, let's say what your torturers want you to say, which requires you to think. And you can be under an immense amount of pressure, but ultimately the decision still remains with you. And you can still choose to go against that pressure. And that's just the negative example. Of course, there could be the positive example where, I don't know, if you're like a... That would be like if, I don't know, if someone's tempting you with a ton of money to say something or to, I don't know, go against your integrity. Yeah, like if you're, I don't know, if you're an influencer and, I don't know, some random company is offering you a shit ton of cash to promote some shitty product. That decision, making that decision, requires you to think. So again, fundamentally, all action and all decision making depends on thinking first, which depends on free will, which free will is the ability to think, or the choice to think, rather. So it depends on that choice. And so even in the face of, what might be immense pressure, or not pressure, but temptation with this reward, like, oh wow, I could get like 100 grand. That could change my life. Maybe it could, whatever it is. But it would require you to go against your integrity, to violate the trust of your fans. So, that choice still remains. It's like, oh yeah, I can still choose to put all this stuff off. Man is neither to be obeyed nor to be commanded. So commanded is, I think, what we just talked about, this forcing someone to think. You can't command someone to think. You can't force someone to think. Man is neither to be obeyed. Oh, okay, I think I get it. Okay. So both of these relate to these first 2 points. So man is neither to be obeyed. That means you have to you can't just accept the products of man's consciousness. You can't accept You can't accept your actions or your decisions or the actions or decisions of other people. You can't just accept that uncritically. You can't just obey it. Because we can err, we can be wrong, and so we have to critically assess our actions and our decisions and our thinking. So that's the first part of this. The second part, man is neither to be commanded. That refers to the fact that you can't force someone to think. You can't command someone to think, because that choice ultimately remains with that individual. Ultimately, that is what they're in control of, that to the very end. Now, again, you can cave in under pressure, and that can be very painful, like dealing with that. But the choice still remains to, stick to your guns, stick to what you think is right, versus to cave into some sort of outside pressure. Okay. What does this mean? What has to be obeyed is man's metaphysically given nature, in the sense in which one obeys the nature of all existence. So, man has a nature, human nature, that is outside of the realm of control. You just have to accept human nature as it is. And you have to obey it. I think that's what she's saying, pretty much. Okay. This means, in man's case, that one must recognize the fact that his mind is not to be commanded in any sense, including the sense applicable to the rest of nature. Man's mind is not to be commanded. Well, we just discussed that it can't be forced. You can't be forced to think. You can't command. But is that what she's referring to? Natural objects can be reshaped to serve men's goals and are to be regarded as means to men's end, but man himself cannot and is not. So you can't reshape man, is what I think is what she's saying. Or you can't reshape the metaphysically given aspects of man. So, like, there are aspects of you and me that we can choose. Our character, for example, it goes back to this point. Things of human origin, whether physical or psychological, and in this case, psychological is what's important for our example, or for my example. There are parts of your nature that are in your control, right? You can choose your character over time. You can choose your actions. You can choose your decisions. There are also things that are clearly not in your control, like the fact that consciousness operates in a specific way, the fact that reason is our means of knowledge, the fact that emotions are not a means of knowledge, but they're our means of experiencing the world and experiencing values. Let's see. The fact that you have certain biological drives, thirst, hunger, sexual reproduction, things of that nature. Like all of these things you don't have control over, you just have to accept them. They're just facts. But the things that pertain to volition and choice, those things you can control, or at least largely control. So yeah, what has to be obeyed is man's metaphysically given nature. Yep. His mind cannot be commanded in any sense. So again, you have to accept like what the nature of your mind is, what the identity of consciousness is, what consciousness is, how it works. Those are immutable facts, and then you have to kind of operate within those facts, I guess, or use consciousness to the best of your ability. But you can't change, like, consciousness, like, you can't. This is very abstract, so I really hope this is making sense. It's difficult to explain. Consciousness is a certain thing, has a specific nature, and it operates in a specific way, it isn't whatever you want it to be. Like you can't, for example, you can't wish something and then make it so. Like I can't wish that I was like, I don't know, 6'6", or I can't wish that I was more intelligent, or I can't wish that I was in better shape and then like snap my fingers, and through like willing it, I can't like just wake up with those things. Some of those things I might be able to achieve, like you can get in better shape, you can, I don't know about the intelligent one, that different conversation. Some things you can change, but you can't, like, you have to go through a specific process. You can't just will it to happen. That's not what consciousness does. You can't just wish something or feel it so deeply that it becomes so. That's not what consciousness is. So in that sense, you can't command the mind to do something that it's not capable of doing. Okay. Last sentence. Natural objects can be reshaped to serve men's goals and are to be regarded as means to men's ends. But man himself cannot and is not. So man himself cannot be reshaped to serve men's goals. In a sense, again, you can reshape your character because that's dependent on volition. But the metaphysical aspects of man, or the metaphysically given aspects of man, you can't reshape those, right? You can't change, like I just said, you can't change what consciousness is and how it works. Man himself cannot be regarded as a means to men's ends. What does that mean? Man himself cannot be regarded as a means to men's ends. Well, man is an end in himself. So that means that, like, actually, what does that mean exactly? Okay. Man is an end to himself. So usually what comes to mind immediately when I think of that is that, like, your own happiness is like the purpose of your life. And the purpose of my life is to achieve happiness. It is not to serve some greater goal or some goal outside of myself. Like, my purpose is not to, I don't know, serve the state or the greater good. That's a weird concept. Or, yeah, something external to myself. I am an end in myself. I am did I really not define end? Okay. So I think, all right. Sorry, I'm just trying to get clear on terminology. Okay, so end is, I think, synonymous with purpose. Man is a purpose in himself, or man is an end in himself. So, what does that mean exactly? Well, at least in the moral framework that Rand is using, the ultimate purpose of your life, of a man's life, of an individual's life, man means human, not just, swap man with human. Purpose of an individual's life is the ultimate purpose is the pursuit of happiness, the achievement of pursuit and achievement of happiness. And I think of this as like greatest quality and quantity of happiness. So it's not just like momentary pleasure, where like, I don't know, you shoot up heroin and then you're dead the next day. It's like long-lasting, long-range, super high-quality happiness. So that results from achieving difficult but super meaningful goals, like getting in amazing shape, having a really amazing relationship with your significant other, having really deep friendships with people who have shared interests and shared values, sticking to your values and sticking to and being virtuous, like having integrity, being honest, being rational and reasonable, being productive, being just, like all these things, and the result of doing those things is a lifetime of happiness. Of course, there are ups and downs. It's not always great, and there might even be periods of time that are pretty shitty. But on the whole, when you look back on your entire life, it should generally be an upward trajectory in terms of happiness and, I guess, the quality of your life. So anyways, that within, and again, I think, this is all I think. I could be wrong on some of this, but I believe that is the ultimate purpose of your life according to Rand. And so because of that, like that's the ultimate end of an individual's life. And so because of that, there cannot be an end like a man cannot be means to some other end outside of himself. That would go against the ultimate purpose of his life, which is to achieve happiness. I'm not going into the argument of why Rand claims that the ultimate purpose of man's life is to achieve happiness. That's for another book, not for this book. But like the only reason to do something is to achieve, because that thing makes you happier, or if you achieved it, it would make your life better. So a goal outside of that framework, which would be like the idea of selflessness, or what do you think? I guess selflessness, yeah, doing something of no benefit to yourself and even harm to yourself, sacrificing yourself and your life for some other cause. Again, for your country, for other people, for the greater good, for the common good, for the state, I already said the country, for God, for something outside of yourself, that doesn't make sense under this framework. Okay. In regard to nature, to accept what I cannot change means to accept the metaphysically given. Yep, can't change the metaphysically given. To change what I can means to critically analyze the man-made and change the man-made when it sucks. Not sucks, but like when it could be better. Or when it sucks. It means to strive to rearrange the given. Oh wait, to change what I can means to strive to rearrange the given by acquiring knowledge. Oh my god. As science and technology, e.g. medicine, are doing, to know the difference means to know that one cannot rebel against nature, and when no action is possible, one must accept nature serenely. So I think this is all true. Pretty difficult to do. In fact, very difficult to do. Especially if you like when I give some history. So when I first learned this is like kind of a game changer for me in terms of my psychology, because I was that confused person who didn't know the difference between these two things, like I think most people are, and not to their own fault. They've just never been taught those, or they've never learned this. And dude, I was so stressed, and I was so I was anxious all the time. I felt just like a hodgepodge of like fucked up emotions, because I didn't know what I could control, what I couldn't control. I felt guilty for trying to change things that I couldn't control and failing. And then sometimes I would drop the ball on things I could control. And sometimes I would even just not even try because I didn't think I could control. So just a bunch of just chaos, mental chaos. And learning this and trying to live by this as best I could or can has helped a lot, but it's fucking hard. And even the old emotions will still pop up from time to time. It's gotten a lot better, but this is really difficult, even if true. It's very difficult, and I think it's important to recognize that. None of this is easy. Philosophy isn't easy. It's not easy to live in accordance with truth. It can be very painful, especially when you're first starting, because you might be doing a lot of things wrong. Or I'll just use me for example. Like when I first started, I had so many inconsistencies with my beliefs. I had so many bad ideas, and going through the process of parsing all of those ideas out and trying to correct them over time, dude, it sucks. It's really hard. It's really painful. And I think accepting that just helps you deal with it, because you're like, yeah, I'm not going to change overnight. This is going to be a difficult process, but if I just take it slow, deal with one thing at a time, deal with one idea at a time, figure out what's true, and try to make living in accordance with that truth a habit, and just do this over time, eventually you'll get to a really good place. Anyways, so Okay. There's one point in this paragraph that I want to unpack a little bit. To change what I can means to strive to rearrange the given by acquiring knowledge. So the man-made, or let's say like the physical man-made, because so with the man-made there's a psychological component and a physical component. The psychological component refers to man's choices and the result of those choices have on your character. So, right, if I live a virtuous life, I have a good character, and I have a positive, a really healthy psychology as a result of that. And I choose, like those are choices. I choose to live virtuously. And because of that, I have a positive. So in that sense, you, like those facts about your psychology, those are man-made facts. You chose your psychology, at least indirectly, because your psychology is a result of your character. Or at least partially a result of your character. But the physical stuff, science, technology, engineering, like building, all those like physical man-made facts. Yeah, all of those are just a rearrangement of the metaphysically given. So like a building, because everything physical is made up of like natural elements that exist. The rearrangement, like a building, like that building out there is made of bricks, and bricks, I don't know what bricks are made of, but some natural element that we rearranged those elements in such a way that it made bricks, and then we layered them in such a way that it made a building, and then whatever goes into making a building. We're just rearranging what exists into a way that's beneficial for our lives. So to change what I can simply means to, So you accept the metaphysically given. To change what I can means by studying the metaphysically given, you figure out what it is exactly, like what a specific thing is, what a brick is, or what a tree is, what wood is, and then you learn about it and you learn its uses, and how you can use it. And then to change what I can, you rearrange the metaphysically given. You might cut down a tree, then you might burn it so that you can have heat, or you might build something out of it. You might build a tree house for your kid so that he has a place to play. So that makes sense. To know the difference means that one cannot rebel against nature. It's a pointless endeavor. You're just going to waste your time, and you're going to waste your time. And when no action is possible, you just have to accept the situation. What would be an example of that? I think you see this with people on their deathbed sometimes, or a lot of times, where like they're going to die, they know they're going to die, and they've accepted it, and they've made their peace with it, and there's like a calmness and a serenity to them. Like, it's like, yep, this is happening. I can't do anything about it. Like, this is what it is. And there can be but in some cases there's a peace, and in some cases they're still, in the denial stage, and so there's a lot of psychological angst. Not angst, fucking pain. What's another example? Maybe if like a relationship is ending because like you both realize that you're not a good fit, that you have differing values. So it's not like a communication issue or an attraction issue. Well, I guess it's not a communication issue. It's where like it's not something that can be solved very easily or at all. You guys have different fundamental values. You've realized that, and neither of you will change. and you're like, oh, this is not going to change. You accept that. You're like, okay, this relationship is ending. It was great, but it's not going to work in the long term. You accept that, and you have to accept that serenely. Say, okay. I think that's an example. Maybe it's not, because, you know, that relates to, like, you could change your values, I guess, but if neither of you will change, then I don't know. Maybe that's a bad example. Anyways, all right, I'm going to move on. In regard to man, to accept, to force. Yeah. Okay. This is a packed paragraph. So let's unpack it. In regard to man, to accept does not mean to agree, and to change does not mean to force. So, to accept what I cannot change. I cannot change another person. I cannot force another person to, like, change their beliefs or to, like, accept my ideas. And I don't have to agree with what the other person thinks, what someone else thinks, or what actions they take. I have to, but I have to accept that they're going to make whatever decisions they're going to make, and that I can't force them I can't force them to change their mind. All I can do is present what I think to be true in the most clear, in the clearest, most persuasive way possible, and, you know, try to empathize with them, try to relate to them, relate to their values. But they have to be the one to accept. They have to be the one to grapple with what I'm saying and to see whether it makes sense. And then who knows, maybe I'm wrong, and then if I'm wrong, maybe they'll, you know, say, hey, I think you're wrong, here's why, and then maybe I'll change, I'll change my mind, whatever. Point is, I don't have to agree with someone, neither do you, but you do have to accept that they are going to think what they're going to think, and all you can do is present your case and let them think about it. Okay. What one must accept is the fact that the minds of other men are not in one's power. Yes, you can't force them. As one's own mind is not in theirs, they can't force you. One must accept their right to make their own choices. Yep, so like a right to life, or a right to your life means the right to make your own choices and to fail or to succeed based on your own choices. But you have to be the one to make them. And one must agree or disagree, accept or reject, join or oppose them as one's mind dictates. So you have to analyze what they're saying, what they're doing, and say, do I agree? Do I disagree? Should I vehemently oppose them? Should I somewhat oppose? Like, you have to, whatever. You have to make those decisions for yourself. The only means of changing men is the same as the means of changing nature, knowledge. That's interesting. That's a very interesting way to put it. So I'm actually going to write that down as a quote, because I think that's that's a great way to put it. And it's an interesting connection. So, like, the only way to change nature is to learn about nature and then to discover its properties and then to rearrange those properties, again, in a way that's beneficial for your life and for achieving your goals, right? So you learn about, I don't know, you learn that you can burn wood to heat your house. You learn that. So then you do it, and then now you have a heated house, and now you're not freezing at night. Likewise, the only way to change man, to change their mind, is to present them with new knowledge, in effect, and to communicate that knowledge in a way that is clear, that is compelling, and that is, I guess, clear and compelling. But both, yeah, that's so interesting. Both processes of changing men, changing nature, first require knowledge, and then applying that knowledge. Very interesting. When and if their minds are active, meaning like they're engaged in trying to discover truth, like their main purpose in conversation, or at least in like intellectual conversation, is to not be right, but to figure out what's true. When and if their minds are active, when they are not, one must leave them to the consequences of their own errors. Yeah, like if you know for a fact something is true and someone else won't accept it, and you've presented that truth in the best way you can, is what it is. To know the difference means that one must never accept man-made evils. Okay, that's interesting. So this is all in regard to man. So to accept, okay, you accept that you can't force other people. You must accept that force does not change minds. And you accept that you cannot force someone to think. You change people's minds by presenting your ideas in a clear and compelling way. And knowing the difference, what does that mean? To know the difference means that one must never accept man-made evils. There are no others. Yeah, evil only pertains to man. Like, nature is what it is. It doesn't have... yeah, evil is, like, that's a moral term. And it only pertains to things that morality pertains to, which is only humans. That we know. Because we have free will. Here's another way to put it. Fuck, my heater just turned on. Sorry, guys. Damn, that's annoying. Okay. Alright, give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to turn it off. Because that's really annoying. Also, my camera froze, so that's unfortunate. Alright. Okay, well, I just turned it off. Might take a few minutes. Dude, what's up with this camera? All right, well, I'm just going to continue because I don't have a choice. It's not true. Heater's going to do what it's going to do. Okay. Oh, to know the difference mean that... Oh, yeah, okay, so... Evil only pertains to man, or well, technically, evil only pertains to creatures that have free will, and to our knowledge, only humans have free will, because we are the only creatures that have a rational faculty. You know, if we discover aliens, that might throw everything, that might change that, but we haven't discovered aliens yet. So, yeah, like, morality doesn't matter and doesn't serve a purpose if you don't have free will. Because the purpose of morality is to, like, tell you what's good and bad so that you can make decisions that are good and not make decisions that are bad. But if you're determined, meaning you have no choice over what decision you're going to make, what actions you take, there's no point to have morality and to have ethics, because you're going to do what you're going to do regardless. Oh, it turned off. Let's go. Yeah, ethics would serve no purpose. So, it doesn't make sense to ascribe like moral terms to nature because there's no free will. There's no choice involved with nature. It's only choice involved in man. It's not like, I don't know, if you fucking I don't know. Like if you live in a village, let's say, and your town or your village floods and destroys it, like everything's destroyed. Calling nature evil or the flood evil, like, no, it just happened. I mean, it sucks, it's horrible, it's not good, but it's not evil. It's just a fact. Versus, let's say, like, I don't know, some country invades your village, or whatever, an opposing village invades your village and kills everyone. Yeah, they're evil. Evil as fuck. And, like, deserve to be in chains. But that's because those people, the invading village, they chose to do that. They chose to come and kill your people and kill your family, maybe. That's evil. Anyways, where was I going with this? To know the difference between, one must never accept man-made evils. So that kind of goes to critically assessing the man-made, because we can err and we can be evil. Humans clearly can be very evil, very, very bad. And you must never accept those evils. You must always be opposed to them, in silent resignation. And you must never submit to evil voluntarily, even voluntarily. And even if one is imprisoned in some ghastly dictatorship's jail, where no action is possible, serenity comes from the knowledge that one does not accept it. So this is hard for me to grasp because I've never been in this situation. And most people have never been in this situation, but like I have to imagine, like, I mean, yeah, if you're in a situation where you're being tortured, or you're imprisoned unjustly by some evil dictator, and you never give in, and you never, like, let's say, like, you're at war, And like they're the invading country. They're clearly the evil, the ones in the wrong, the evildoers. And you get captured, you're in prison, they're torturing you for information about your unit, about whatever your unit's plans. If you never relent, of course, yeah, like the situation's horrible, but you can take pride and immense self-esteem in the fact that you never give in, and that, yeah, you don't give in to evil, you don't accept it, and you basically say, fuck you, I will not help you in any way, because you are literally the worst thing possible. You are evil. And I will not accept that. I can imagine that will give you like great self-esteem. Again, the situation's horrible. It's not like this is a positive situation, but at least that will give you, it will give you serenity. It will give you a calm peacefulness, knowing that I stuck by what I thought was right, even if it kills you. Now again, like that's hard. It's hard for me to think about, but because again, never been in that situation. But you can sort of, you can like contrast, or you can compare it to other situations where like you stuck by your guns. Now maybe your life wasn't at stake, but like I don't know, like someone was being a dick to someone at work, and you're like, hey, that's not okay. Like when you did the right thing, or when you didn't give in to something that you thought was wrong, or you knew to be wrong. Like think about like when you're young and like people are bullying a kid because, I don't know, maybe he's overweight or short or has some weird thing that makes him different from other people. You can be that guy who's like, I'm not going to bully, and in fact, I'm going to stand up for this kid because I don't like it. Now, okay, maybe that's a bad example because kids don't really understand ethics to like a sophisticated degree. So maybe that's a bad example, but you see the point. Like it feels really good to stick up for what you know is right in the face of difficult or overwhelming odds. It feels really, really good. And this example is just the ultimate version of that, where your life is on the line. And so it's going to feel really good to do that, even if the situation's horrible. And I think, that's the proper way to live. It's the correct way to live. Okay. To deal with men... Okay, so... it's pointless to deal with men by force because you can't force someone to think. You might be able to force them. Hell, you can't even technically force them to like take certain actions. In a sense you can, but in a sense you also can't, because like if you enslave someone, and this is a crazy example, but yeah, let's say you capture someone, like, hey, you're my slave now, and I'm going to force you to whatever, to do work for me. They can say no. Now the consequences are they're going to be tortured, they're going to be, who knows what will happen to them. It'll be really bad. But they can still say, fuck you, no. You're a piece of shit, you're evil. This is unjust, this is deeply immoral, I'm not going to accept this, even if it kills me. But the question is, do you want to give up your life and deal with like the consequences of that? But the choice still remains. The choice always remains, even if it's an extremely difficult choice. Anyways, you can't deal with nature by persuasion, bro. I'm going to have an intellectual debate with the fucking tornado that's coming. Like, bro, stop. Trust me, you don't want to do this. Okay. This is an interesting analogy. So, dealing with men by force and nature by persuasion is the policy of savages, who rule men by force and plead with nature by prayers, incantations, and bribes. It does not work and has not worked in any human society in history. Yet this is the policy to which... Okay, this is a specific claim about modern philosophy. Don't know if it's true or not, because I haven't read much modern philosophy. I'm like just getting into this stuff. Yet this is the policy to which modern philosophers are urging mankind to revert, as they have reverted to the notion of the primacy of consciousness. Yeah, so primacy of consciousness, if consciousness, let's say, creates reality, creates existence, and you don't have to submit to existence, then yeah, you can will something into being. So you can pray, well, praise, well, yeah, sure, let's say pray. Whatever, do tribal rituals and like those sorts of things and change reality under the primacy of consciousness. They urge a pastic, mystic, ecological submission to nature and the rule of, so again, I don't know if this claim about modern philosophy is true because I haven't read it. So I'm gonna just not ignore, but put a pin in that. All right. So interesting. A lot of Rand's claims about modern philosophy goes back to they deny the law of identity, specifically with consciousness. But yeah, this is just more specific claims. I'm gonna write that down. All right. Intelligence. I don't know if this is totally true. Irrationality. All right, whatever. Okay, more specific claims. The lowest non-existence? Wait, what? Oh. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so Rand's making specific claims about egalitarianism. Yes. So I don't know. I haven't looked into egalitarianism, so I don't know. Man, this feels a bit tangential, but okay. Telling the man that there can be no intellectual moral neutrality on such issue. Moral cowards. Okay, yeah, she's kind of just going off on people. Derelicts. Okay, this feels. What does derelicts mean? That feels really disrespectful. Okay, as someone abandoned, run down. Oh wait, that's an adjective. A desolate, homeless, social misfit vagrant bum. Okay, this seemed really, really disrespectful and really just unnecessarily harsh. Like, as someone who like knows addicts, has a family history of addiction, has struggled with addiction himself, like this is really harsh, unnecessarily harsh to call them derelicts. They're people struggling with a disease, and I would call it a disease. Like that's really unempathetic. Anyways, whatever. I don't like that. Anyways, yeah, she's just kind of going off on a bit of a rant. You have to fight on moral grounds, to propose to annihilate intelligence by slow torture. I agree with her claim. Like, yeah, intelligence is good, and we should not treat people equally. Oh, that's gonna get clipped. Oh God, we should not treat people as if they are the exact same. Like there are clearly differences. Yeah, there are clearly differences between people. Now there shouldn't be any differences like before the law. And there are no, or with regard to rights or things like that, but there are clearly differences. Yeah, differences in people's capabilities and their skills and their intelligence and their attributes and their work. Like yes, people are different. Okay, cool. And we should treat them as such. Great. That's just so rude. All right, let me try to summarize this chapter. The Serenity Prayer. That's it. Embrace and live by the Serenity Prayer. That is like the essence of this chapter. All right, next chapter. Let's go. 4, the missing link. I'm starting to move a little faster through this, so that's good. All right. I shall begin by giving you 4 examples and asking you to identify what psychological element they have in common. I have read this, but it's been a while. I once knew a businessman. Oh, good for him. He acted as a sort of tribal patriarch. Okay, that's interesting. All right, so off the first paragraph, this guy, he's had a lot of, material success, or at least compared to where, especially relative to where he was at when he started, risen from poverty to affluence. Great. Good for you, man. That's awesome. His friends seem to depend on him, perhaps in a negative way. Maybe. I don't know. It's fine to run to a wise person and a person who's successful for advice and for help. The issue is if you're solely depending on that person to solve your problems. That's bad. But it looks like he was in his late 30s, but he acted as a sort of tribal patriarch. What is that? Tribal patriarch is so like maybe he gained. I don't know. Let me continue. It's hard to tell whether he accepted or resented his role. Okay, yeah. So he accepts this role as like the people come to me for help as a duty. He had probably never thought of questioning it. He did enjoy acting like a small big shot. Okay, so he enjoyed the status, sounds like. The status and like I'm an important person. People depend on me. Okay, this is low-key kind of pretty immoral. Special favors That's just immoral. Like, nah, bro. I mean, you can, yeah, no. No, like, nobody's above the law. Now, you can question whether the law is just or not, but you shouldn't be able to circumvent it. At least not in this way. The concept of friends had some peculiar significance. Oh, he likes Friends. He watched their entire... Oh, interesting. In a manner that projected a touchy suspiciousness and fierce loyalty to some unwritten moral code. All right, so the commonality from these two paragraphs is he's not real. It doesn't seem like he's questioning his like fundamental, or like he's not really questioning his beliefs. Like here, yeah, metaphysical duty. Never thought of questioning it. It doesn't seem like he knows the reasons behind why he's doing what he's doing. At least not exactly. And that he's kind of just acting based on emotions. Like, I enjoy these small favors, even if... So I'm going to do them, maybe. And here we go. Fierce loyalty to some unwritten moral code. So unwritten, like I don't know what it is. Okay, politically tended to be conservative. Doesn't like liberals, unfamiliar to unfairness to businessmen, the arbitrary power of the political machines. Okay, why'd you comply? Bro. Okay, weird. Fear. Well, fear of change? Huh. All right, that's so interesting. Let's go. All right, moving on. Nature of fiction. All right, well, actually, first, okay, in general, what do I think of this guy? He's not questioning things, like, on a very deep level, like his reasons behind why he's doing what he's doing, and there's sort of a blaming of other people going on, which maybe is true, like the withdrawals candidacy, or else. And then this part's really interesting, this last paragraph. He was feared, or he's afraid. Well, it's interesting. So Rand's claiming, yeah, laissez-faire capitalism is what we need. No groups could acquire economic privileges or special pull. That would go against his this point where he has some connections with people and would get special favors, special pull. That would go against that. So maybe he doesn't like that. Even if it's the solution to the problem. Or his problem with, I don't know, political corruption. All right, 2. Nature of fiction. I don't know what the naturalist position is. The distinctive mark of the novel is its concern with the actual world, the world of fact. Immediately element and experience. Novel does not permit occurrences outside the order of natures. I need to read this book. Anyways. Huh. Okay. You know what? I'm going to read the whole thing before I give my assessment. The whole example. Scandal? What? All right, this is confusing. Let me try and unpack this. So, she's a naturalist. I don't exactly know what. All right, I'm gonna Google this quickly. What is natural? What is the naturalist position in novels or in art? So, naturalism. Let's see. Action, inclination, or thought based on natural desires or instincts. Okay, well, that's just. Okay, I don't think that's what she means. A theory denying that an event or object has a supernatural significance. Okay, denying the supernatural. All right. Realism in art or literature. What does that mean? A theory or practice in literature emphasizing scientific observation of life without idealization and often including elements of determinism. Okay, so what do we got? We got scientific observation of life without idealism. So that is like not projecting an ideal state, just looking at things how they are right now. And including elements of determinism. So no free will. Okay, sure. That makes sense, I guess. The distinctive mark of the novel is its concern with the actual world, the world of fact. Okay, so that relates to, I think, the scientific observation of life, like as it is. By fact, she meant the immediately available facts, the empiric element in existence. Experience. So. The novel does not permit occurrences outside the order of nature, miracles, so no, I guess fantasy wouldn't, maybe, yeah, I guess fantasy. Oh, timer went off. Shoot! All right, boys and girls. We're going to leave it off here because my timer just went off, so I have to go. All right, cool. We made it pretty far. I think I'm figuring, fuck, my camera is still frozen. That's crazy, bro. Crazy. All right. Hopefully we'll figure that out for next time. But, fuck. Okay. I think I'm figuring out how to, go along in a bit of a faster pace. So that's great. We might actually finish this book by the end of the month. No, not the end of this month. Maybe next month. We'll see. If I really pick it up. Anyways, so yep. Thanks for joining. And yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow. Will not be this book. I'm reading Mastery by Robert Greene. Great book. Would recommend. I read that on the weekend. So. Or I'm reading that on the weekend right now, so we'll be streaming that. So, hope you guys stop by. It'll be good. All right, later, bros.